Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I do, Chairman Westerman, I did want to talk a little bit about the importance of this, and maybe you can share with us, what does this really mean from the practical standpoint for a farmer in my district? And the importance of having things like, when a species is listed as endangered or upgraded from threatened to endangered, it makes significant issues for those farmers.
Yeah, well, thank you, Representative Fishbach. And, for those who would want to downplay the importance of this, I would say go talk to the farmers in your district. Ask them, how much extra burden do they need to be able to do the work on their land. It may be something from getting an additional permit, which can be a lot harder when you're dealing with the federal government, or it may be shutting down your activity totally. And also, if my colleagues want to minimize the importance of this CRA, the only reason we're doing this is because the Biden administration made a silly rule. They didn't follow the science. They followed their environmental activist friends, and they made a rule, and it's our duties as members of Congress to be the voice for the American people. So I don't think it's trivial at all that we would take this up. I think it has very strong impacts across the country and could hurt businesses and hurt the environment all at the same time. So when silly people make silly rules, and we have to have silly meetings to reverse their silly rules.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman, because it really does affect the farmers. It really and you mentioned a permit. You don't know how long that's going to take, and could hold you up for months and months, potentially years. But I appreciate the effort for the long-eared bat, and the range includes Minnesota. But I do want to just highlight a little bit a long-standing issue for my state as well, and for many states, but the gray wolf. And my time in the legislature, we were dealing with that, and the species has long been confirmed as recovered, but it remains listed under the ESA. And can you talk about the ease in which it is to list a species compared to the difficulty of graduating a species off the list?
I call the endangered species list Hotel California, because species go on and they never leave. And the gray wolf is a great example. The Biden administration, Fish and Wildlife Service said they're recovered. They're still listed as endangered. It undermines the whole intent of the Endangered Species Act, and it's why on the committee we're looking at doing a reauthorization on the ESA, because it hasn't been touched in about 50 years, and it's been weaponized and it's being used against people who work for a living in our country. It's going after the thing that allows them to do their job, and it's hurting the environment at the same time. So it's important that we take these issues head on, that we make it something that's really about recovering endangered species. When it was first put in place, it had some success stories. The bald eagle, the grizzly bear, I don't think anybody doubts that, and I don't think many people think we should do away with it, but it should be something that works for species, not against species.
I absolutely agree with that, and I think it's disappointing when issues like this that are important to the people in rural areas and who are trying to make a living, they're trying to farm, they're trying to raise cattle, whatever the case may be, it's lessened somehow, that this is not as an important issue that we should be addressing. So I appreciate your information on that. And with that, I yield back.
Gentlelady.